I'm out in the water, come jump right in, 'cause we going farther than we ever been. I'm out in the water, come jump right in, we going farther than we ever been.
Yo, 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 yo. What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Welcome back to Ocean Waves episode 58, I want to say. I think it's 58. I'm going to stick with that. I hope it's right, but pretty sure it's 58. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. It's currently Friday morning at 1:38 a.m. Last week there wasn't an episode, obviously, for those of you who watch each week, and that's because I ended up going to Canada for a few days. A couple months back, my grandmother fell, and since then she was in the hospital, and then I guess sometime in some recent past, she ended up moving to like a retirement home type place. But she's in like the total care unit. And I guess my perspective is that once she got there, she realized she like wasn't gonna go back home. So I think she kind of just gave up. Really, she was like giving up on survival. So, but my dad went up there a week for like a week and a half, and he pretty much helped convince her to like take the antibiotics, and he helped nurse her back to a place where she can survive for some time longer, and it's up to her really. If she wants to be here, she'll be here. If she doesn't, her body will give out, right? And let the infection spread. So it's up to her. She has to keep eating and stuff. So my dad pretty much got her to a good spot, and we were gonna go up and bring the baby, and then my dad called. It was like Wednesday, and he said, or Tuesday or Wednesday, he said basically that it might not be worth doing it, like driving it all the way up 18 hours, and because it might not even be worth, like the interaction might not even be worth it, and which was tough to hear, you know. So, and I had been waiting to go back to Canada because Jason and I had left together, and that was back. We went in like the end of August of like 2020. We went to Canada and we stayed there until like a week before Christmas, and which was dope because we got to spend time with our cousins, and it was nice being in Canada for those first few months after being like locked down in Georgia. And then we had gone a couple of places, like we had gone to the lake for vacation and stuff, and we were kind of like starting to get out, but then there was just really not much here in Georgia for us at the time, and besides the studio and stuff like that. And I think more or less for me, it was like I was just trying to get out of where we were. So Jason joined in on the plan, and we basically forced our way up to our grandma's house. She didn't think it was a good idea at first, but then once we got there, she realized like how good of idea it was. A great idea. We were able to spend time with her for a while, and my cousins, and then it got to the point where we would just chill in the basement, and I think she kind of resented that a little bit. But she was in a space where she was like the election happened, and the entire week she just was in front of the TV watching the election. And and for Jason and I, that's not really like it's honestly torture to sit there and have to watch and listen to all that, so. And we just weren't like, we would like watch football and stuff, but like we weren't like meeting There was no like middle ground, I think. And then her and Jason are both Scorpio, so they butted heads over some things. And honestly, it all really came down to the idea of the debate of you're never too old to change, and they're old, and that's just the way they are, and there's no changing. And both sides have valid arguments for their case. I'm on the side of that you're never too old to change. I mean, isn't that what Up's about, The movie Up. If you haven't seen Up, it's like the balloons. Um, Obviously, I'm not sure how many. I don't know if it's actually possible to lift a house with balloons. You'd have to have probably like a really large sum of them, not just like the couple hundred that he had, you know. But obviously, it's an animated film, and there's a storyline, but there's obviously underlining meaning, and throughout that, he is able to change his perspective on life, and he is no longer like a grumpy old man. He's just an old man, right? So I think that there you really aren't too old to change, and for me, I was like, even if like we're in the basement, like she's not like alone, because we'll come up, we'll see her, we'll chat, I'll go outside, chill with her, she'll smoke her cigarettes, blah blah blah, you know. So, and at first it was really good, and then it kind of, I guess it turned sour. But we would like my dad and would say like, oh, she's like not really happy or whatever with us, and then we would ask her like blah blah blah. She'd say everything's fine, like, And then it came down to basically she got my uncle to kick us out, or like told us we had to leave, instead of her, and it was just like it was tough, you know. So that all happened, and it was tough because, I loved being around my cousins. Uh, it was nice. There wasn't much going on here, The laws in Canada, certain laws are nice, So I was just like enjoying myself, and we were playing Minecraft, and not much responsibility, just things like that. But at the same time, it wasn't like a space to make music really. So, in looking back on it, like it was best for us to leave, right? But we didn't have to leave like that. We could have left, like she could have been like, "Hey, like I think it's time for you to go." And then it's not like, "Oh, in 2 days we're gone." All of a sudden, it's like, "Oh, we could have like, all right, we'll plan like next week. We'll plan to leave, blah blah blah." This, and that, instead of being so last minute, you know? And then we came home, and, things were different back here as well with the family and stuff. So it's honestly a lot that time looking back. But since then, I've put out 2 albums, worked on other music too, but solo albums. I put 2 solo albums out. We went around the country in a minivan, the southern half and the east coast, the southern half probably you would say, and we didn't get to hit the northern parts, but another time, we did that. So those experiences wouldn't have happened if we didn't leave, So it was destined for us to leave. It did create like a sour end to that, but overall it doesn't take away from the time that it was great, and all the years prior, that being at my grandma's and doing things with her and going to Toys R Us and all that stuff. She bought us our first Yu-Gi-Oh cards, things which was a huge part of our childhood, and even now we still have all the cards and we played. And when I was up there, my cousin Adam, he said, like, I could tell that he like had missed playing because we had played Yu-Gi-Oh. We like brought our cards up, and we basically repackaged them into little packs, and then would pull packs and play with those cards. So, it was fun, and I'm don't really think he has too many people around him that in his friend group or in where he lives that brought him into that realm. So he enjoyed that part. I could tell that he had missed that part. But the Pokemon TCG Pocket app is basically a Pokemon trading card game, and you get packs each day, and you can pull cards and make decks in battle. So it's not Yu-Gi-Oh, but it was also we love Pokemon too. Obviously, it's been talked about on this podcast before, and so that is dope because it's something to connect on, and it's in that realm, which is nice, you know. But it was definitely right for us to leave. Probably not in the right way, you know. And then because of that, and then after we left, actually, shortly after, sometime in 2021, early the vaccine started coming, right? And in America, we had, and everywhere there was like, it was forced on a lot of people. If you didn't take it, you were they made it seem like you were a bad person, you know. And unfortunately, some people who, with their job and stuff, they had to do it, and they had worked their whole lives, and some of those nurses and stuff, it's tough they didn't get their own decision because they were literally in the hospitals during the beginning and throughout the beginning of the war of this disease, right? And they were there, and then all of a sudden, a year later, they're told they have to take this thing, but they've been around the whole time. They've been staying healthy. If they've stayed healthy, you know what I mean? It's definitely tough to see that people had to make that decision because you put in all that time and effort to get there, money spent. You know, it's not an easy road to become a nurse or a doctor, something like that, because of, you know, the hoops you have to go through to be able to do those things. So it's tough to. I can understand why people would have decided who did it and like took the vaccine because of their job, because it's like you lose everything if you don't, you know. So, but in Canada, a lot of people, I think it was more forced on. I think because I think a lot more people there's a lot less people who didn't take it, if any. I mean, I'm sure there's some, but you know, I think that it was more forced upon there if required, you know, in Canada. So, but then also at that time, then it was like if you didn't have one, you couldn't cross the border. And there was that weird like 2 year period where it was like that. I'm still not sure for like the Europe if I could go to Europe. I don't know. Haven't really looked. But as far as anything else, like you can, like that has dropped as far as like I think, you know. So, but at the time, so then it became a time where it was like we couldn't go back. So it was just like so much time had passed. Had been 4 years, you know, and I felt like, and the plan was for us to go up together. It was like we left together, we'll go back up together, bring the baby, you know. And then my dad was like, it might not be worth it. And then they're talking about selling all, like getting a company to sell all of our stuff and all that stuff. And I was like, well, I felt bad. I felt sad at that point because I felt like I wasn't going to get a chance to at least, like, at the very least, like, go back to her house one more time, you know, and being there for a little bit and just remember the times. And then also she has stuff from many different generations of time. And it's like maybe like leaving a little memento might be like worth nothing but worth everything, you know. And I felt like I was just not going to get a chance to go through any of that stuff before. It's just like, I don't know, just like my uncle described it as like the vultures. Like the vultures come and pick the bones of whatever is left from this person's life, you know. So that was kind of sad. But then my dad basically, so shout out to my dad. He ended up booking me a flight to go up there. So shout out to him, because without him, I probably wouldn't have gone up, you know. And I was debating if I should go, but then it ended up just kind of being like it wasn't really a yes or no. It was just like you're going, you know. So I went. And I think that my presence did matter. I think that I give all the credit to my dad because my dad put in like a lot of effort nursing her back and doing what he could, with the time he had. He had to go back to work, obviously. So, and I think, and then me and my cousin, we went there a couple times together, and it was nice having him come with me and not having to go alone, too. So I'll always remember that and appreciate that. And it's tough seeing her uh not be able to do shit on her own because she was very like independent. She was stubborn, but she was an independent person, and it's tough to see like certain things like you can't do anymore. And I'm not sure if that's forever or if that's just where she's at now, and she can get over that. There's that line where it's like how much is it self deteriorated versus actual natural deterioration. So, but my dad bring her, and then all my cousins came and saw her, and my sister went up there, and I went up there. So for her birthday, we were all there, which was nice. And yes, I think she felt loved. Seeing all of her family come and wish her a happy birthday, and she made it to 86, and and then Jason called and she said she wanted to see the baby and all that stuff. So that might all still happen. And when I was there, like there's a couple of things like just like with her meals and stuff that I was able to like relay. Like there was miscommunication, and I was able to relay the message, which hopefully they care enough to keep up, like to keep the notes of whatever it was, and hopefully on her side she keeps up with at least eating like at least once a day, hopefully twice, getting up and doing the activity, like getting like out of her room, even if people have to help her, like just letting people help her and doing it and just getting out and pushing on each day, and it probably won't last too much longer either way, but I don't think that, I think she can still see another Christmas and a New Year, and and we'll see after that, but she definitely can push through a little longer and enjoy what she has and being around all the other older people, and maybe she can spark a conversation or two. I saw a picture that she dyed her, like there's like a salon in the place, and she dyed her hair again, and I think that was part of it because she had always dyed her hair. So seeing her with like this gray hair and stuff like made her look like a lot older, and obviously you saw like her true state. But then seeing the picture of her with her hair, I was like, oh shit, like she looks like a lot better. And I guess not health wise, but she looks more like her, and she probably feels more like her, herself. And I believe that I probably did play a part in her if she continues to push forward, and I probably did play a little part in it, and I'm happy, I guess, that I did. I went up there and I got something out of it, being able to hang out with my cousins again for the first time in a long time. We had some good conversation, and it was good to see them. I didn't want to leave. I wanted to stay longer, but maybe we'll be back soon. Go up there pretty soon, so we'll see. But definitely a crazy experience. It was tough seeing my dad and sister say bye because I had left a couple days later than they did, and they left, and it was like their last goodbye. for now, and hopefully not forever, but it could have been. But we pray and hope every day that, that everything will be fine and the plan will still work out how it's supposed to, and everyone can come together for a special moment, So hopefully that all aligns, but either way, I did what I could. I went up there, I helped in whatever way I could help. I was there for her birthday. I relayed the messages that need to be relayed. Me and my cousin were there when the nurse came in. It was the first time that she had allowed the bond between her and the nurse. The nurse said that it's the first time she actually saw her, for who she was and stuff like that. Not just a grumpy old, lady. So that was cool. So I could tell that she was obviously in a better position than before we were there. And the nurse said that she wanted our numbers to come every visit. So I guess if the nurse could tell how much of a difference it was when we were around. And, so hopefully we gave her that will to live a little while longer and keep pushing. Maybe get to 87, it's a tough ask, or not even ask, but that's for anyone, even for me to get to 40, you never know what's going to happen, and some people never even get to 80 or 60 or whatever. So you never know, but it's still possible. She's getting cared for. She's getting her meals, everything. She can continue on if she wants to, and it's not the same life that she had, but also she had lost the ability to garden, and which I think caused her to stop smoking outside because she didn't want to look at her garden. So then she would smoke inside, and she was stubborn and didn't want to get a walker, and so it's probably best if she would have, once she lost it, like she couldn't even garden and stuff anymore. Maybe that was definitely the time that she should have probably made the move to this place that she's at now already. But hindsight's 20/20, and everyone makes their decisions, and everything happens for a reason, no matter who you are and how old you are and what path you chose. So it's definitely it was definitely tough at some points. It was awesome at other points, but I'm definitely glad I went. And when I got back, I was gonna do a podcast when I got back, but it's just, I was just tired. I was tired, so I didn't really feel like doing it. And yeah, I don't just want to do the podcast just because, and just oh, I have to do one, so let me just do one and say. It's just like, I want it to be like, I want to do it. I want to, I want it to be natural. I want it to be fluid and not forced or pressured. And that's why, like, this one, like before, a couple on the past ones, I was like, I don't want to put it out on Friday. But you know what? Like right now, because of me stopping the first, like that other time, and now that we're like 6 behind, which I'm not gonna spend every one that I catch up on, like, just talking about how we're catching up, which I already did that. You know what I mean? So this time I'm not gonna do that. But but I did calculate it out where from here on out, if 2 come out each week, then the first week of the new year, like there's like where it crossed over to the new year, will be like there will be 1 podcast in 2024 and then 1 in 25, and then we could go for Wednesdays from there. So that's the goal, that's the plan. Hopefully we get to it. But it's kind of been like the off season, it felt like the past month or two, and I'm itching to get back in the studio, and but I've been consumed with sports betting and family and things like that. So definitely just like always remembering what your priorities are and balancing your time. Symphonic Squirrel, shout out to you, commented on the last one again, saying how time's our worst enemy sometimes, which is true because we only have so much time before Just like my grandma, she's on the last grains of sand, versus, me, where I don't, you could consider middle life or early middle life, still have a lot of time to go, or it could be short, but the days go like that. The year will go, and you're like, oh, sometimes you're like, oh, the year just flew by, but then you actually think and sit back and think everything you went through, and it didn't really fly by, but it did. So time's a weird thing. And he also said that it is important to stay fit all along the way, and I definitely think that. My goal on my birthday this year was to be the healthiest I've ever been in 2 years, and I think that was such a smart thing to set, because I knew that I wasn't gonna start like that day, like it was gonna like gradually shift. So probably within these next 6 months, it will lead it to my last year of being in my 20s. I'll probably develop that routine that I want for the longevity of my life, you know. But yeah, I think it is good to get away from certain things sometimes and to step back and reevaluate what you're doing and why you're doing it, And it's like, for me, I look at ocean waves and I think, what was the inceptional thought? Why did I put all the equipment on the credit card and spend in the computer and spend all this time paying it off? And it's come down to the last month, and I'm about to pay off the last month, and before the interest kicks in, and which is great. And it's like, for now, like, here I am by myself doing, versus originally I had like a thought of 4 people, and everyone goes in their path that they decide to go on and what feels right for them. And I'm not mad at that at all. So for me, it's like knowing that I like that ocean waves doesn't move without me, so there's a certain pressure with that, but at the same time, it's like, what is ocean waves, right? What is this podcast? And I think it's it's an example of truth and reality, in the sense of an honesty, where for me, this is a place where now it's become a place where I just speak my thoughts freely, and I try to fluidly channel my thoughts and feelings and messages that come to me or that I have that makes sense for people to digest and listen to, and to either, one, take in and accept, or not, and use what they gather as useful, and then make up, and then throw away whatever they don't need, and then come up with their own thought process and their own what they believe. And and I can see that, like, I was talking, I think podcasts have become big in a lot of people's lives, and depending on which ones you watch, shape who you become in certain ways. Like, if you watch certain podcasts, certain people, you'll start entering you'll maybe not think like them, but you might, your thought pattern might be influenced by them. So for me, I'm like, okay, that's happening. Like, my goal is to influence thought patterns in a spiritual direction, creative direction, loving, honest direction, self-reflective, and that's where I am currently, because of just where it became, where it was 4 people to 2 people to now just me, and now it's like, okay, now where are we gonna go? And for now, I think this stage is for me to get comfortable with just being just this, because this is still important and this is still great in certain ways. And sometimes when I'm about to do one, I get nervous, or I get this feeling like, oh, what are you even going to talk about? Is it going to be good? Like, what are we even doing? Especially when it was just me. And then you get to the point where it's like, I'm not sure exactly why I'm supposed to do this, but I just know I am. And so I just continue to do it. And that's it. And it's like, what's the pressure? Okay, yeah, if I put it out on a Friday, it's not going to get as many views. However, it still gets 10 to 13 or 10 to 15 or whatever. So the people that watch, not routinely, or I guess, but just have the notification and are excited to watch the next episode, like, shout out to you guys for real. Like, I really appreciate you, because it always reminds you that there are people watching, and then when it was consistent, there was more, like 40 and 30 and 100, like close to 100 at one time, and things like that. So, and I think that other people's perspective and energies also bring certain, the conversation becomes more universal, because I am a universal thinker, but I also am self-reflecting. So, and self-channeling thoughts that I would have to myself, but also am aware that it's like, if I was speaking to like 100 people right now, or in this case 10, also what would I be saying? And to funnel out the stuff that I don't really need to say on the microphone, and bring up the things that I do, So from here, where are we going to go from here? And I believe that in the future it'll probably be, there'll be guests coming on, and I'll have conversations with different people, and we'll, go through different topics. And, there's certain podcasts that are similar, and those are the ones I kind of watch. And I'm not trying to copy them or be them. I'm just like, I like that form where you can be yourself, and you just want to have a conversation, a natural conversation, and I guess, so now I'm having a natural conversation out loud with myself. So it's like, it's like, how much can you say, like, just based off what you're thinking? You can go obviously forever, but there's certain, maybe where it's like, I might think something now, but in 2 days I might think something a little different. So what are the things that you're gonna stamp on a microphone that are okay to be there, to be talked about for change or whatever? Or you can go back and be like, oh yeah, I remember when I was saying that, but now I realize this. And there's some things that you say, but you can't, like, no matter what time you go back to it, people don't care. You said it, So it's a fine line where I want to be precise, and I want to be honest, but I also don't want to overreach or go too out there where it might deter people, or it could be clipped or something in a negative light, versus this long form thing where it's like, if you started from the beginning, you can feel where we started to where we are now, and that's why a lot of times when I see a clip, I'm always appreciative it says where you can go find it, because I love seeing the clip, and that's where it's like, oh, whatever that conversation is, I want to hear that, and then I'll go watch the whole conversation, because I want to know how they got there, and then what happens after, So for me, I feel like from the beginning, that inception was to have natural conversation, because I'm usually, if I'm in like a conversation at all that's not just like, third dimensional, like something's happening in our environment, or if I'm at work answering a question, or, if we have to go to the store, things like that, we're those third dimension. If it's anything beyond those third dimensional conversations, the conversation is usually something that is thought provoking. It's usually it's one that people I felt would like to be a fly on the wall for, or would like to listen to and hear a perspective and formulate their own opinion or agree or disagree or whatever. And we can conversate and get to these points where people can hear things that maybe they don't hear all the time, or enter a space or just a space of thought where you can have your own thought and own feeling and just bring you to those vibrations. Just like music in certain ways, where music is going to bring you into certain emotions and feelings, but in reverse, in a sense of, instead of like it being 3 minutes, like bring you into the zone, and then however long the zone lasts, and whatever energy you get from me, you take in your own life and you use it and you reuse it and you send it back to someone else or to me or whatever, and we feed off each other and we all grow, So I feel like for me, like, it doesn't matter if it's 10 or 100 or a million or 1,000, whatever it is, like, I'm still going to be doing this. I'm still going to be saying how I feel, because I understand that I'm a aware individual that is here to spread peace and love and hopefully help people find the path to themselves, and we get a world where people are doing what they came to do and are aligned with their passion, and it's a loving, harmonious world, and that's the hope. So for me now, it's like, okay, I have to get over those little things where it's like right before, like, oh, I get nervous that it's going to be bad. Like, why would it be bad? Just say what you fucking feel and keep going, So, and I guess because I've done so many on my own, I'm like, oh, I don't want to say the same things. I don't want to I don't want to keep bringing up how fell behind and how we're catching up and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to talk about that for all, and just being self-critical, but then I hit record and I jump in and, here we are, 1,100 bars later, talking about, life in a certain light, So yeah, so I feel like I've now understood, I've removed the pressure of like, okay, who cares if I put it out on Friday? Because 10 people are going to still watch it. Bet, why not pull one out at all just because, I miss a day where maybe 20 people watch it instead of 10. Like, who cares? The 10 people that are actually watching want to watch it. So they're going to want, like, it would be a shame if I just dropped off the face of the earth and never posted another one, Maybe in a couple years they wouldn't care anymore, but, it would be, it'd be sad, right? So why not put one out anyway? So why don't allow that thought, like, oh, I'll just do two, like, don't allow that thought to enter anymore, where it's like, if I do 2 next week anyway, cool. If I just do 1, all right, bet. But as long as I do 1. And the goal is to dial it back so it goes back to Wednesday. So hopefully in the next few weeks we can put 2 out a week and get back to it, where once we're in 2025, we're back on Wednesdays and it's a new energy, new cycle, and we go and we move forward. And then from there, Ocean Waves will grow into whatever it's supposed to be next. Jason will come back on at some point whenever he feels like it, and maybe if we find a time where it's like dedicated every week, we're doing it this time, like we had at some point, maybe he'll be on more often, because he's got a lot on his plate with the kid and and his job and his wife and, a whole bunch of stuff. So it's like understandable, and it's not like he doesn't want to do it. So it's the balance of us finding the time where, he could be on it every week if there is a spot, or he'll be on it whenever he's on it. No worries. But I feel like it's going to grow soon enough where, I'm just not sure where the outlet is of Like, I don't really want to be going out like begging people to be on it, because I can just sit here and do this. So it's like I don't need I don't we don't need to have a guest, but it would be better. The more people that have the more people that can entertain and contribute to a fluid, natural conversation where we all can take something out of it. You could have 5, you could have 4, you could have 2, you could have 3, whatever, but different perspectives, different energies bouncing off does make the conversation more intriguing, and it can go in so many different directions because you have multiple people channeling thoughts and feelings that it can get taken into different directions, and then perspectives can be given based off those directions, so, and I'm interested in talking to other people. I want to see what other people are really feeling and thinking, and I think when you have a long conversation with someone, you can kind of really get to know them for real. And in little short 30 minutes, hours, people can like stick to their points and whatever, but they say like once you get to hours 2 and 3, that's where the truth comes out. And because eventually you're going to say something, so I think like inevitably this platform will have a studio. It won't be me on my couch, but this is what it is for today. This is what, just because I don't have a studio or whatever doesn't mean I don't do it. If you watch this podcast from the beginning, you can literally see the growth of me, of the setup, of whatever. We got the light, the editing. And and when I ever say editing, I'm never really editing like any words out or anything. It's just, for whatever reason, the camera and the vocals, like the lineup doesn't line up match. So sometimes it looks like you're talking with the audio is delayed. So I just try to make sure it's lined up, and I do the intro, outro, So, not crazy, but it takes time, But here we are now, and eventually we'll be in the studio, and we'll have different people and different conversations will be had. And Jason's perspective is that we should have segments, different things. So maybe that's something that we'll introduce here, whatever, But for now, I look at it, Ocean Waves, as a place of open and honest thought, And it requires openness, Otherwise, you'd click off of it, and you wouldn't even get this far. If you got this far, you're in not the trance, but you're in the zone of my thoughts and my feelings and, where I'm at currently. And then from there, you can take something out of it and use it in your own life and, maybe even do better than I'm doing, And I'm doing good enough, I can eat today. I have a place over my head. I have a job. I have income. I have purpose. And so for me, it's like removing the pressures. Like, yes, it's been a couple of months where I've just kind of taken off from being an entity in the world, versus like just being me at my house and, no one knows who I am, versus like the mentality that I'm already famous and I'm moving like this and this is what we're doing and we're here for a reason, and like I'm not meant to just bartend at my job for the rest of my life, But there's a balance where it's like I had to take this time off. I had to recalibrate, regroup so that I can grow, So I'll be back in the studio very soon, and new music will happen, and I'll be playing it on repeat on my phone because that's what I love to do, And and I feel, I feel good, and I feel removing the pressure. Okay, yeah, and I also have to stay up late because I have to drive tonight. So I was like, what better thing to do than kill a couple hours than fucking do a podcast and then edit it. And by the time I'm done that, it'll be time to go. So, it ended up working out where today was the right day to do it. And, who cares that it'll be out on a Friday, because the people who want to watch it will watch it, And eventually it'll keep growing and growing and growing, and we'll have different guests and different things will happen, and, so that's where I am currently. That's where I've been. It's been an interesting couple of weeks for sure. I'm definitely happy I went up there to Canada, and it was overall it was good. It was sad too, but it was good. And I'm happy that I went up there, and it felt good to go back up there. So, but I'm back now. I've been back at work and back in the grind, and just trying to get into a solid routine where I'm balancing my time, being productive, not wasting minutes, hours, but utilizing the time, removing pressure from myself, enjoying my surroundings, and just freaking trying to just enjoy life and be happy, smile, because why not? Kind of feels in some way that countries had a chance to breathe after this election. The commercials are gone, and looks like RFK is going to be able to do some things, so that's dope. And I see on the other side there's people who are, fearful of things that may come, and and I think that it's a tough road, because no matter who won the election, like there's some shit that could happen that's scary, and whether you know about it or not, it's like people like there's scary things that are gonna happen. So I had a thought earlier. It's kind of like there's there's like some doors. So one door is, and these doors are when you walk through is when you like wake up in the morning, right? And you can walk through the door of going on your phone and hearing from whatever news outlet or person that gives you news, or whatever different stories or possibilities, things that could happen in the near future, whether it's a law, whether it's an idea, whether it's this, whether it's that. And a lot of those are fearful, and we should be aware of certain things. But a lot of stuff is they want you to be scared. So they're going to send you things or information, or they're going to get you riled up in certain ways, So there's that door you walk thing where you become influenced by things that may happen or could happen, possibilities that could happen, and then your whole day is shifted because of these things. And some of them are very sad, and some of them are very scary, and I do agree that we should be aware of them. And a lot of things go unnoticed, and in certain places things go unnoticed, and and that sucks. And you don't want that to happen, but also you don't want to worry about shit that won't happen. And I'm not saying things will or won't, but every day you wake up, if you're living in that realm where shit might happen, it's going to influence your day, and it's going to be more negative than positive, right? Then there's another door where you walk through in the morning, and you see all the shit that has happened already, that you know about, that has gone under the cover or is not a big deal, or you see was a big deal for a second and now it's not, and all the scary shit that's happened already. And that is also a negative world, because it's depressing, it gets you nervous, you get anxious, you get like sketch for things around you, because you go down these rabbit holes where sometimes the information it's good to know it, but also now that you know it, you can't unknow it, and it's like, like the movie The Matrix, when Keanu Reeves like unplugs for the first time, and he's unplugged and he sees like what the world is. That's something that you can't like unsee for real. You know, and because he couldn't unsee that, his life is now not like the sunny days and stuff. Not that in the movie it was, but it could be. You know, so that you go through that door. Then there's a door where you walk through that you're just oblivious to it all. You're oblivious to the shit that's to come. You're oblivious to the shit that's already happened. You're just oblivious. And that sometimes is more positive than negative because your day isn't influenced, but you might make decisions that you wouldn't made if you knew the other side of it, right? So there's our negative aspects to that, but so you got the worrying about shit that might happen, worrying about shit that already happened, not knowing shit at all. But then there's that fourth door where you walk through where you are aware of shit could happen, you're aware of shit that has happened, but you don't let it influence you, and you just you enjoy each day. Like, you're happy to be here. It's another day to make a difference within yourself, people around you, whatever, And yes, there's some shit that could happen, but I'm not going to be scared that it will or won't. It's like, if it happens, we'll have to deal with whatever it is, and if it doesn't, awesome. There's shit that already happened, like, if you can shed light on it in someone's light that they didn't know, then great. If not, it's like, I'm aware of what's happening, and so I'm going to move accordingly in my future, But I don't let that fear me, that just because something happened in the past, like, I'm fear that, it's going to happen to me, like, soon, And it's like, that's it. That's I think the right door to be at, where shit could happen, shit that has happened, but you don't let it influence you. You enjoy each day, and you stay away from fearful thought, and targeted influence, and yeah. So we'll see what happens. The world, it definitely feels like there's some shift happening, and it's interesting to see, but I had a thought when I was screwing in the mic stand, and it was, they always say, like, it's lefty, let's see, lefty loosey, righty tighty, right? And let's see, yeah, lefty loosey. Oh wait, now I'm trying to think. If it's lefty, so you're spinning like that, righty tighty. Yeah, that analogy doesn't work, so I'm not even gonna say it. Cause I was thinking about it there. I guess I'll say it, cause I was thinking like left. Yeah, if you go left, righty tighty, lefty loosey. Yeah, I was thinking. Yeah, I was wrong. I was thinking if you go left, like righty tighty, like if you go. I got. All right, so I'll just say what my thought process was, because now it's gonna be weird, right? So I thought that if it was left, as I was spinning left, it felt like I was going like around the clock this way, but you're not. And my analogy was, if you go back in time, so lefty loose, so righty. I thought if you're going back in time, spinning righty tighty, like that. That's left. Yeah, but I was saying if you go back in time, you get to a point where it's the beginning, and you stop. You can't go back anymore, and you can't change any of that stuff. So you get stuck if you go. But if you just keep lefty loosey, you go around the clock, and you'll keep going. But maybe it's reverse, where, right, if you think too far and much about the future, you get to a point where it's stuck because there's only so far you can go based off the knowledge you have today, versus you can unwind the past and you can see where you came from. I don't know. The analogy's fucked up. It's broken. It's fucking 2 a.m. bad on me. You know, I forgot it I was gonna bring it up like 3 times. I kept forgetting. There's probably a reason why I kept forgetting. I should have let that shit go. Honestly, it's whatever though. Yeah, but we'll see what happens. But I would just say don't let fearful like thoughts and ideas like don't let them influence you in your day. Don't let them send them to you so you get scared and shit. Like it's either way. There's gonna be stuff that's gonna suck. That's gonna happen. There's stuff that's gonna be awesome. That's gonna happen, and that's life. And we just have to, you know, as long as the people around you have the ideas of like what of yes of what should we should be able to do and what's not okay and stuff, it's like together we can all find a balance between what's right and what's wrong, and it's gonna take removing money and things out of it, but hopefully we get there. um Obviously the way the world is now, it's hard to imagine that money won't exist ever, or the greediness will go away because just of how big it is. But I think it just takes everyone to have that moment, that realization, that what's that epiphany, of what's really important, what's true, you know. The question where the interview asks Bob Marley, "Are you rich? Are you a rich man?" He says, "What do you mean rich?" And then he says, like, "Do you have a lot of cars and possessions?" And he says, "That makes you rich?" He's like, "My richness is life forever," And he's rich in spirit, in his soul, He is rich, and I was inspired by that quote, and I like to live my life based off that. And I feel good. I feel like I'm right where I'm supposed to be. My biggest challenge, I would say, is self-doubt, like removing self-doubt, even the smallest thought, because the smallest thought can throw you off. It's that little feel, like removing all self-doubt at all, like knowing like I'm a great human being. I'm a loving person. I care about humanity. I'm here for a reason. This thing will work. Ocean waves will grow. The music will grow. I'll get better. I'll be better. I'll. Cause why else am I here? What else am I supposed to do? I'll make some jokes. I'll make some movies. We'll do it. That's what we're here to do. In the meantime, we'll help raise the next generation up, and find more purpose in each day of life, and hopefully be an example of truth and honesty and what it means to be who you are and follow what you're supposed to do, and not be an example because I'm forced to be one, but because I want to be, and not compromise myself and for anything, And it's like, that's a big thing, Can you stand? A lot of people probably say certain things like that, and then when the time comes, they might make a different decision based because of money and stuff. But I truly feel like, I've gone through enough things in my life to understand my values and to know who I am and what I'm here to do, and to know that it'll work out in where the way it's supposed to, and I don't need to compromise myself for money or for anything else. I can just stick to who I am. I'm good enough. I'm getting better. And there's other people out there who are doing the same, and hopefully we all connect eventually, But I think I'm kind of at my little end here. if I go more, if I push through, I could probably hit another wave of nice little surfing waves of thoughts, but I think this was a good one for me to get back on the mic, say where I was, say why we missed another week. For 6 behind, all good. 2 a week for the next few weeks. We should catch up and be good for the new year. And yeah, it will save me more thoughts to give out later if I stop now. So, but feeling good overall. I hope everyone else is. It's coming to the holiday season. I didn't celebrate Halloween, which was crazy. 28 years, never always celebrated Halloween. But I was working. I didn't have a costume. Didn't see a scary movie. We didn't decorate. So next year I'm gonna make sure that we celebrate Halloween and we celebrate. This life's too short not to. So gotta celebrate the wins. No matter how big, how small. Just enjoy being alive and keep getting better, keep growing, make some good music. And yeah, so that's where I am. That's where I've been at. For anyone who's in similar situations, I definitely recommend seeing your family and connecting and doing whatever you can to have some good moments and to cherish the memories and to hopefully make some more. So to that, I appreciate anyone who's watched this far, who's going to watch the next one, who's riding with me in Ocean Ways. I'm Indigo Ryan, the Navigator, here to navigate you through thoughts, feelings, emotions, and hopefully bring a nice little shine to your day, to know that there's someone out there who cares about your existence and hopes that you're doing well and hopes that you're striving to become who you are and to fulfill what you're here to do, and that you're not alone, So, but yep, that's me. That's Ryan. I'm here. I'll be back soon. It's 2:40 a.m. I'm going to edit this, drive, and go to sleep. So, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate you. This is Ocean Waves, episode 58, and we'll catch you again soon. All right, peace.